using video and combining into one seamless workflow. And once we achieve that goal, then there will be no training for using video and recording a video conference or accessing a video recording, which is actually the most of the problems we have today is not the video quality per se. The video quality is something that you can adjust for upgrading the network or deploying more efficient compression, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is really that people just stay away from that because of the complexity, and the ease of use is very important. I think we reached a certain level of ease of use with the traditional paradigm using remote controls and keypads. But beyond that, there is the next level where you integrate video in the business process itself and becomes a second nature, similar to scheduling a meeting in your calendaring tool, similar to just composing an email and sending it out. When we take video to that level, that's when all the enterprises and all of the employees in the enterprise will be able to use that, and nobody's going to say, no, I'm not going to use video because it's so complicated and I don't understand it, I need training, and nobody's giving me training on it. So I think that is the next step we need to do.
Yeah. All right. So we had a question come in from the audience. So the question reads, what has changed culturally to allow the acceptance of interactive video? So I'll take a shot at an answer and I'll turn it over to you. I think a couple of aspects here. One is cultural attitudes in general. So, YouTube 15 years ago might not have worked. So YouTube and the prevalence of streaming video has helped in acceptance. And I think the second aspect of it is global collaboration. Once you're working across countries, you're working different time zones, as you folks mentioned, the communication is much better, there's more engagement, there's body language, which becomes much more important, and it's available with video. On a phone call, if this whole thing was a phone call, it would be much less interactive. That's my thought. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I really agree with what you said about the culture change and the fact that maybe YouTube wouldn't have succeeded in the past. I think that we also see, we see people today working from home. So it's also becoming, part of it is also a necessity. Okay, you want to collaborate with people, you want to participate in events such as this, or to share a presentation with people you work with. I think it's a combination of things. The world is much more open today. People agree to collaborate much more and to share their thoughts. And people put their pictures on Facebook, Flickr, whatever. So they feel very comfortable also to be seen on video. So I think there has been a fundamental culture change. And when we see the next generation, I'm sure it will be even more stronger. People today who are teenagers, a few years from now, they'll be joining the workforce, and for them it will be common practice. They do it today with their friends, right? They do it today with all kind of messengers with their friends, so they will do it with their colleagues as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think also what's very important is that for a lot of applications, we have reached the ultimate simplicity, point and click for ordering things online, for booking flights, what have you, right? So if you look at the online services and how they evolved over the past 20 years, it took a while actually to reach that level of refinement, right? And to be at the point where you see the Google, main page and there's just one field there, nothing else, right? I think video has also been progressing, right, from big systems where you need to have somebody there to administer and set up the call in advance before everybody goes into the room, blah, 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 where now you are actually able to go to a website, click a link, and then just be connected, okay? And I think that's essential for making any application, not just video, available to a mass audience, because obviously not everybody is whatever, to learn details of a technical setup. So now that we have actually resolved a lot of the technical issues in making our service, right, video conferencing, available to end users in that kind of simplicity, I think the users are responding, and finally we'll be able to see video be on par, with other types of network applications where we stopped having panels on them or even discussing them, just use them, and we don't even think about them, right? They're just there.
That's a great point.
I agree with Alex that the consumer market is, and also with Amir, that the consumer market is driving a lot of video adoption in the enterprise. And it is interesting because in the past we would see new technologies first implemented in the enterprise and then trickle down to the consumer market. And now we're seeing the opposite trend. A lot of new technologies, not just video, but also all of the concepts around cloud computing and all of these services developed on the public internet then get modified and used in a certain shape and form in the enterprise environment. And this is a very interesting new trend where the communication is in the opposite direction, or the influence is in the opposite direction. Definitely getting younger employees will help video adoption in the enterprise, because people who are used to do video in their private lives, they would require it in the enterprise environment as well. At some point, and I assume that all of you can witness that and confirm that, when you use video long enough, you start feeling impaired, basically visually impaired, I guess, if you do not have video connection. So for me, really having a regular phone call feels like talking in the dark. And it's very unusual when you're used to seeing an image and seeing the reaction and the facial expression and the body language. When you lose that, you realize, I guess after you lose that, you realize how much you have lost. For people who have never used video, it's a little different. They may need some persuasion to try it first, and then get hooked on it as well. So I think that is very important. And in the enterprise environment, I think we can. We would see more video usage definitely in all the areas. I think that always enterprise will require higher quality than consumer. Consumer will require higher price. That's basically the rule of the game. Consumers want to have lower price, but can accept some quality degradation. Enterprise is always about higher quality, and they're ready to pay for that. But you have to make sure that your offering is better than what you can get in the consumer market. And I think that is where all of our companies are playing in. And in order to achieve this better quality, we have to be able to do not just a soft client solution, but you have to be able to have a DSP-based solution for higher quality to enable additional applications, higher compression, better picture processing, et cetera, et cetera. So for the next couple of years, at least, I see that all of these solutions will be necessary for the enterprise, and I really think that people will be striving for better quality in the enterprise environment. Maybe not to the level of everybody using 1080p every day, but high definition video definitely makes a difference in the enterprise environment, especially in vertical markets. You can get people to use it for a lot more things than just having a conference call if you have this high definition video and high definition audio capabilities. You see that in the healthcare environment, with doctors using that to see a patient remotely. You see that in a government environment where people are using for disaster recovery and connecting to remote control points. We see it in all different verticals. In manufacturing, we see it for quality controls. And for that, you really need the higher quality than a regular consumer call.
Stefan,
All right.
I agree to a large extent with what you said about the requirement for higher quality on the enterprise. I do think that at least for the last 10 years, maybe even more than that, the consumer market to a large extent is driving technology and adoption into the enterprise. We see it in voice over IP, Skype, and we see now that Skype, around 30% of the Skype calls are video, around that number. And we should expect that to happen also in the enterprise. That's great for all of us. It means more business for all of the companies. And we see this also in social media. Today, enterprises use social media, but the beginning was consumer to consumer, then business to consumer, and now also even business to business. So clearly we see adoption maybe with lower quality on the consumer side, as you said, and then moving into the enterprise. And that's why I think the adoption of video in the consumer has a very strong indication of what will happen on the enterprise, meaning video and desktop.
So you raised a great point, Amir, about Skype and Yahoo and